Do you think the Monitor or Anti-Monitor would ever or could ever return to the Arrowverse at all?
You never know. In that world, anything's possible. Are you dead or are you just a little dead?
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of A-Listers. My guest today is an actor famously known from Arrow, The Flash, Supergirl, Batwoman, Legends of Tomorrow, Sons of Anarchy, Designated Survivor, The Last Ship, Delilah, and many, many more. And he's also a professional SlamBall player. Welcome to the show, LAMONICA GARRETT.
Hey, thanks for having me, man.
Right off the bat, I'm going to ask you, what's the story with SlamBall? How did that start?
When I came to LA, I came to pursue acting. And I was in class, studying, and SlamBall came around, and my buddy was like, "Hey, I'm going to this SlamBall audition." And I'm thinking that, it's a TV show. Like, all right, yeah, I'll go check it out with you. They had an open call. And when I got there, I realized that it wasn't a show. It was more of a new sport that they were coming up with. So automatically that, that aggressive football nature side of me came out, that competitive edge that I really hadn't put down yet for my football playing days. I'm like, you know what? I'll give it a shot. Who knows if I make it, but I'll see where it goes, and I could jump into acting right afterwards. And it took off, and I was, a pretty good player. We went overseas. It was a brotherhood that I had with those guys. It was the locker room that I was missing from football. So it was, it filled the gap that I had. And it was like one of the most fun things I've ever done.
Do you think they'd have a show like that today? Because when you look back at it, I mean, you guys are just slamming into each other, full force on a wooden floor most of the time.
Yeah, it was like a spring-loaded floor, so the impact on the floor wasn't as hard as the impact with each other.
Gotcha.
But I think if it was out now, I think it'd be much bigger because social media is just taking off. Like viral videos. Like we had about 5 or 6 plays a game from each game that could have went viral in today's social media. So I think we were just ahead of our time, but it was, right. I told the creators, if it comes back, I have to do some load management, but I might have a few plays in me. Just a couple.
Well, to continue off of that, from what I was researching, correct me if I'm wrong, SlamBall kind of led to your acting gig on, what was it, One Tree Hill or something like that?
Yeah, they wrote like a three episode story arc for SlamBall for the lead character to, try out, play. And I told the guys, the SlamBall guys, like, look, this is right up my alley, man. This is why I'm out here. Like, let me audition for it. And I got the part. And it was opposite, Nate Lafferty, Joe Manganiello. Like I was in it and I loved it. And when I got back home, I told the SlamBall guys, like, hey, that's it for me. I got the real bug now. Like I've been on a set, I've worked, and that was 2008. And from that point on, it just took off.
So when I was in the military, I was working the gates, and it gets a lot of downtime there. And one of my buddies, Lawson, introduced me to the show, The Last Ship. So how did you enjoy your time on The Last Ship? And did you have to do any military training or anything prior to going on the show?
I did not. I've done a lot of military roles, so I was comfortable in that, in that environment. But that was so much fun. That was the biggest workload I've had to date. Well, up until that point, as far as, material. So that was a challenge for me. It was fun to bite off a bigger chunk than I previously had. And it was fun. We would go down to San Diego and go down and film at the naval base down there. And we'd have our fatigues on. We'd have all our credentials, and we're walking around, and people are, I was a lieutenant,
saluting and stuff.
And they were stopping. I'm like, no. I'm like, no, we're the fake guys. You guys are the ones that deserve all that. We're, And after a while, I just said, screw it, because I kept explaining all of us. So we just
started saluting.
Yeah, that's what it is.
There anything you can tell me more about the Designated Survivor project? I thought that was such a scary and crazy concept, because something like that could happen, and that chain of command would fall all the way down to, you played Mike Ritter.
Yeah, that getting that job, that was huge for me because it was working opposite Kiefer Sutherland, and I'm a huge fan of Kiefer. But just that concept was scary in itself. And reading that script, we had one table read, during my whole time on Designated, and it was the first episode. And after that first table read, you could hear a pin drop in there. Like we've read the script a couple times, but it was just, something like that really could happen. And it just, it was one of those things that was it was fun to be a part, but it was if it really did happen, that's what was all in our minds. Like, this is crazy. Opening the window and seeing the Capitol building being destroyed, like, who knew? But yeah, and then cut to the future with stuff happening in the current environment, like it.
Yeah,
But
what I've always told people when I suggest the show to them, is say, just watch the first episode. If that doesn't hook you, then it's not for you, but it's going to hook you. It's going to happen.
Yeah. That show, it was an adrenaline rush.
I know my followers are going to kill me if I don't talk about your time in the DC universe. So you had such a powerful presence as this character. How did you land the role of the Monitor/Anti-Monitor?
When I found out I wasn't coming back on Designated, I was bummed out. And it's back to the audition trail. Like, it's where you've been before. And this role came along, and I went in there, I read, and I saw a couple of actors in there from that I was a fan of from back in the day that was reading for the same part, like big name guys. And I'm like, oh, wow, that's such and such, and oh, man, and I'm next to go in the room, and I don't want to say who the actor was, but he comes out in like this larger than life person physically. And, and he comes out, and I looked at him, was like, hey, man, big fan, shook his hand. And I went in and met with Mark Guggenheim and the producers, and I'm like, hey, that was just substance, he's a big deal. They all started laughing. And I read for it, and I got it, but they were real vague with who the character was. For a while, I thought I was playing Val-Zod. They was like this powerful Kryptonian, they were real vague, and I was putting two and two together because I'm a DC, fan. And I found out I wasn't Val-Zod. I found out I was the Monitor. I was like, oh, wow. Like, so where's this leading? You think Monitor, you think Crisis. Yeah. And they wouldn't tell me any of that yet. We just did Elseworld. So I'm like, all right, I had a fun time on DC. That was, I got to play with all the guys that guys and gals that I watch on the CW. And then they said, yeah, we're doing Crisis. After Elseworlds came out, it said Crisis on Infinite Earths. I didn't even know until I saw that in the final episode. Really? So that was cool. And I didn't know I was playing the Anti-Monitor until maybe a month before I suited up. So they keep it all tight to the vest, man. They don't tell you nothing.
I mean, it makes sense because then you have those people who say, okay, mom, you can't tell anybody. Okay, my friend, you can't tell. And then before you know it, it's like telephone. Something's gotten out there.
Yeah, with social media, it's so hard to keep stuff private now. Like, you think you're telling one person, and before you even get home, excuse me, like 50 people know, and they're, hitting you up on Twitter. It's like, oh, wow, okay.
How many hours did you have to sit in for the makeup for both of those roles? I imagine it was quite a process.
The Monitor was it started off being like an hour and a half, and then we kind of cut it down to about hour and 10 minutes, just from doing it over and over and over again. And the Anti-Monitor, there was no cutting corners. Like, that was a good 3 hours, 2.5 hours. Like, if we had to be on set at 6, I was in the makeup chair at 3:30 in the morning, and that's it was what it was. And even getting out of it was a process, like 45, 50 minutes.
Wow.
So that was a lot of makeup.
Do you think the Monitor or Anti-Monitor would ever or could ever return to the Arrowverse at all?
You never know. In that world, anything's possible. Are you dead or are you just a little dead? I think a Princess Bride with Billy Crystal, like, is he a little dead or is he all the way dead? Like, you never know. Right. And I, right after I was filming, I was on the Warner Brothers lot. I stopped by Jeff John's office, chatted him up for a little bit. And he was like, yeah, man, you never know. The universe is small and it's big. So, and it's a multiverse. So, we'll see.
But, so it sounds like you would do the role again if you got the opportunity and things aligned.
Definitely. Yeah, I'm a fan.
Was there any cool deleted scenes or moments from the Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover that you can think of to mention at all?
There was a scene with me with the Monitor and Harbinger when she was, she was hearing these voices in her
Hmm.
head, and she was trying to figure out what was going on, and she was laying down in, in her resting area, and the Monitor came in there and had a heart to heart with her, and it was a good scene. It didn't make it. It didn't really push the story. It wasn't, you know, but it was a good heart to heart between the Monitor and Harbinger that would have been cool to see.
Could you tell me a Marvel or maybe another DC character you would enjoy playing?
Man, I enjoyed playing a whole lot on both on both sides. It was
We
funny.
got time.
Yeah, I mean, John Stewart would be awesome. I'm a huge Green Lantern fan. This is hold on, bro. For my birthday years ago, my manager
Oh, I love
got
it.
me the first time John Stewart was introduced. Like they just know I'm a huge, John Stewart nut. Someone tweeted this morning, I guess Warner Brothers is looking for the next Superman, for Black Superman. So I retweeted that, like, yeah, that'd be fun. Really play Val Zod or Calvin Ellis.
So I'm probably going to have more comic book questions, but I do got to ask you a little bit off of the main track. Have you seen the Snyder Cut, and are you aware of this Restore the Snyderverse movement or anything like that?
I watched the Snyder Cut and I enjoyed it. And the first thing that jumped to me, like, why was this scene cut out the movie? Why was this scene? I kept saying that throughout the whole movie. And I know it's 4 hours long, but there's so much good stuff in there that gives context to where these, why they are who they are, and especially Cyborg's character. Like
Yeah,
that, I felt he got cheated the most from, just backstory of because he didn't have that big of a presence in the one that was released.
right.
And I was like, why did they waste Cyborg? And then you see the Snyder Cut, and it was like, oh, that's yeah, but
Because I remember thinking that too, and I remember my editing background, and somebody was saying, well, they cut down the original movie to 2 hours, and I said, if I was cutting that down to 2 hours, there's no way I'm trimming Cyborg stuff out of there. I'm keeping like
no,
as much of that as I can from him helping the lady with her money, and like him changing his arc from feeling like a broken person to feeling like a whole person. It's a shame that they cut
yeah.
all that.
There were so many good moments between Cyborg and his family and just like you said, the woman at the ATM. Like you got to keep all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Yeah, but I enjoyed. It was 4 hours. I had to break it up into two parts. I'd imagine at the theater I'd have to do the same thing, get up, walk around a little bit, but I would have loved to see that in the theater.
Yeah, I same here. I would have loved to see that in theater as well. And I think it's just one of those things where a lot of people saying it's 4 hours long, but it's like you're watching it at home. It's no different than binging a show, a couple episodes,
Yeah,
and with it being split into its parts, you could easily take your breaks. That's how I
yeah,
always look
and
at it.
we a lot of what we saw in the Snyder Cut, we saw in the original release. Imagine seeing all that for the first time. You'd be glued to your seat. Like some of it
Yeah,
we saw.
Flash's time travel alone, I was like, what? They're doing time
Yeah,
travel? Yeah.
I would have been glued to the seat in the theater. Like Avatar was over 3 hours, I think. I don't remember, but
Right.
I was in that world. I didn't leave. Like, it was all for the first time. So
Talk to me about Delilah. You guys just had a season finale recently. How did it feel wrapping that first season up for you guys?
it was a challenge. That was the first, the second job I took right during COVID and all that stuff. That was the first job I've taken where I had to fly, like get on a flight and, go to a different city and work post COVID or right in the middle of COVID's like worst season. So it was challenging shooting. It was challenging going to work each day. Like certain days you go to work and everyone has to test, the crew, the cast, everyone. And if there's one positive, everyone goes home. So you're
Jeez.
mentally prepared to work. And then you get there and you found, they don't tell you who. They say, yeah, there's a positive. So everyone, stay in your trailers, crew, go sit in the car. All right, today's a wash. Everyone's going home. So it was one of those things where, say, I was flying home on Friday and my scene was on Thursday, like the last part of my work for that episode. I go home for like 4 or 5 days, and that day got pushed. we don't know when we're make that day up. So I'm just sitting around in a hotel room waiting to work, and it was just a challenge. And even like as far as the work, first time, having to mask up, you're doing a scene, and then right when they say cut, everyone comes in, give the mask again. And just mentally just being on edge a little bit, like is everyone good? That's, in the back of your brain, who has COVID, who doesn't. It was a challenge, but we got through it, and that was, we were all high-fiving at the end. It was a good moment.
What's the coolest thing you've gotten to keep from any project you've been a part of?
I wanted the monitor outfit, but that didn't happen.
Did they only have one monitor outfit?
No,
Just
we
one?
had a couple, but
they wouldn't budge.
They weren't budging, and I was barking up that tree pretty good. They weren't budging. What I got a good little memorabilia area. I don't know. I think the coolest thing I got was Jim Lee, the picture he drew in Elseworlds, where the monitor with like Wayne Manor or Gotham City in the background, and he signed it, and sent me a thing, and in a case, and that was pretty cool.
This last little part I got for you today is going to be some rapid fire questions. What's the most fun you've ever had on set?
The last ship at the Navy in San Diego, at the actual Navy base. We were cutting up. That was something.
Favorite character you've gotten to play?
Favorite character I've gotten to play, it's a short film I did called The Duke, where a retired football player suffering from CTE thinks that he still has a shot, and he doesn't know it. It was a challenging, it was a tough subject matter, but I'm a former linebacker. I played football my whole life, and it just hit close to home, and the film did really well and went to cons and went to Tribeca. So yeah, that stuck out to me pretty good.
What would your favorite superhero be?
Green Lantern. John Stewart.
Best DC movie?
Best Batman.
In your opinion. Okay.
Batman trilogy.
Best Marvel movie?
Avengers 1.
What's your biggest pet peeve?
Holding the door open for people, and they just walk in like I'm the door guy without saying eye contact, acknowledgement, anything. Just right in.
My wife gets mad at me because when I do that and they do the same thing you're mentioning, I'll say, yeah, no, it's no problem. I'll just say that because I'm like, it's such a weird. Yeah, I'm with you on that. I
don't work here. Dude.
If you could pick one superpower, what would it be?
Teleportation.
What's your favorite movie quote?
Get busy living or get busy dying.
Describe yourself in 3 words.
Hard-working son of a gun.
What's your favorite hobby?
Favorite hobby? Working out, I guess.
On a scale from 1 to 10, how cool are you?
I think I'm a 7.
Okay. I think I'll put it a little higher, but you're being modest.
Yeah, I think I'm a 7. 7's good.
What is a food you'd never want to give up?
French fries.
Okay. Al, you said teleport earlier. If you could teleport, where would you go?
I'd go to Africa. I'd go to Australia. I hate flying. I don't like being on planes. And those are places that I want to go. They're just so far. So, yeah, those would be the 2 that jump out at me.
Cut out the middleman.
Yeah.
What's one thing you own you wish you didn't?
My PlayStation. All 3 of them. Yeah, I kill time. Like I should be studying, but I'm in here playing Fight Night.
What new technology do you think would transform the future?
Bitcoin. Cryptocurrency.
What is your greatest achievement, in your opinion?
My son.
It's a good answer. And that's it. Of course, I'm going to have everything for you linked down below in the description. But what is next for you, LaMonica Garrett?
I'm working on a series right now, an Amazon series. It's going to make a big splash when it comes out. I can't talk about it yet. They haven't announced me, but it's going to be a big deal, and it's fun, and it's a incredible cast. Like I'm just glad to be a part of it. So
that's awesome. I know you got to be vague, but Amazon has not been missing with their shows and movies. I don't know if you did actually. I saw you tweet about the Invincible, and
that's my favorite show right now, animated or not. Like Invincible, yeah. I'm rewatching it right now. Like it's that good.
That pilot scene, I remember telling somebody just get through that first episode, and it's different than anything.
It's so good. My friends were telling me about it. I was like, yeah, I'll get to it after I watch Falcon, and I'll And then when I started watching, I'm like, why didn't you tell me about this sooner? Like, this is the best thing I've ever seen. The cast is like the best cast ever assembled for anything.
So you got a secret project coming with Amazon. Can you say if it's a series or a movie, or you can't say anything?
It's a series.
Series, okay.
Oh, thanks for thinking about me and bringing me on, brother.